Hello everybody, welcome back to Reading with Raptors on a, here in Minnesota, very dreary, rainy kind of Tuesday. I'm very excited. I just got back inside from kind of looking in on our first public tour that we've had here in the building since 2020, early spring, late winter of 2020. So we're really jazzed, everybody. We're really excited about how many people were so excited about getting back here, seeing a lot of the birds in person, where they're actually living and spending time back out in their outdoor enclosures and spaces. So definitely, if you're interested in that, if you're in the area and want to come and visit birds in person, right now the tours are being you have to pre-register online. We're limiting the number of people and kind of the times just to make sure everything is still going really smoothly with everybody. Especially the birds who also now haven't seen people back in their living spaces much since earlier in 2020. So we're getting them used to everything, we're getting us used to everything. Everyone's kind of really on board with everything that's going on. So if you're interested in that, check that out. We've been posting links here on Facebook. You can also check out our website at theraptorcenter.org. And you can check out the information there and sign up to come and visit us for an in-person tour. We are, of course, still offering a lot of both in-person and online programs and activities, so you can also check out all of the stuff that we have going on there as well. But just came in from outside and seeing members of the public here, visiting birds, looking at the spaces where they're actually living, getting to see them kind of close up, which is really exciting. So thank you all so much for just being so excited about that and enthusiastic and really supportive during this whole last year and a half or so. It's been really fantastic. So we're really looking forward to seeing at least some of you back here in the building and hopefully out and about in the community as we do off-site programs, things like that. So really jazzed about that. But today, since it's kind of gross outside here in Minnesota, it's pretty stormy, pretty humid, we are indoors. We are actually coming to you live from our program room, hence some of the kind of tables, or our camper room, where we have some of the tables and stuff set up, because we have had some U of M camps for youth here as well so far this summer. So we're live in here today as people are moving around. So I am in here right now with one of our resident red-tailed hawks, who we call Alula. Alula, of course, being the name of a very important group of feathers that most birds have on their wings, kind of right around kind of where their wrists, they kind of fold up their wrists like this. So a lot of times when we refer to a bird's shoulder, we're actually referring to their wrist, or the kind of equivalent of our wrist, kind of tucked up. But they have a little remnant of a thumb bone that is connected to a group of feathers called the Alula feathers that kind of sticks up when they are coming down to land. For red-tailed hawks especially, you'll see them kind of swooping down. You can see you're watching what my hands are doing. So you'll see them kind of swooping down, and as they swoop down, they'll kind of pop up those little thumb feathers, the Alula feathers, that helps kind of generate a little bit of extra lift as they're slowing down their speed. The way that the aerodynamics works, the kind of how their wings keep them up in the air, is if you have a slower speed, you need more surface area. So if you've ever been on an airplane, for example, a lot of times you'll see as you're coming down to land, they'll extend out those slats on the plane. You'll see like extra little bits of the wing kind of lift up or kind of extend out. Does the same thing as the Alula on a bird's wing. So a very important group of feathers, and where with this bird gets her name. Right now she's kind of tilting her head, looking around, checking everything out, getting a really good view of everything that's going on in here. So you'll hopefully see her doing some more of that as we go about reading. I have a book that I read a little while ago, but it's been a bit, and I love this book, and I think it is great for a bird that a lot of us can see in urban areas like red-tailed hawks, and the art style is pretty precious. I enjoyed it a lot. This is Ruby's Birds. This is by Mya Thompson with illustrations by Claudia Dávila. And I'll show you the back too. So we have an excellent, I think this is in Central Park in New York City. A lot of different pigeons, and I see a cowbird, I see a starling, and then here on the back is a yellow-rumped warbler and some more of that kind of cityscape view. And this one is actually published through the Cornell Lab of Ornithology, so it's a really easy one to find if you like this one and want to find it yourself. Cornell Lab has a lot of really great books on their website that I've been really enjoying. I know I've read a couple of other ones as well, so definitely check them out. Here, actually, I'll show you this inner picture as well, so you can see some more urban birds, one of which is a raptor, some of us might recognize as a Peregrine Falcon. And then here is Ruby and her grandmother that we'll meet a little bit later on in this book. So let me rotate myself here so we can see Alula here while we're reading. So So this is Ruby's Birds. Try to go maybe down here. It's a very wide book. We'll try here, and then I'll move around if I need to see what Alula is up to. School's out. Mom and Dad are at work. My brother Malik is at soccer practice. Grandma's at her spot near the window. Alex keeps her company. Things are too quiet around here. I know what to do. So here is Ruby. Looks like she's finished reading, doing some drawing. Here is Grandma over by the window with, I believe the parrot's name is Alex, having a little cup of coffee. But Ruby knows what to do on a day like this. I play the piano, the piece my parents say is very grown up. I practice my dancing routine, the one Malik calls stomping. I talk with Alex in the secret language Grandma taught us. And up here is a picture of her talking with the bird, where the Ruby and the bird are saying, "What's going on? What's going on?" to each other. And here it says, "I sing at the top of my lungs, the song I made up myself." So here's Ruby doing all sorts of indoor activities. My neighbor Ava from downstairs hears everything. She calls up from her window, "Ruby, want to go to the park?" "Yes, yes, 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 yes," I sing. So here's Ava downstairs, Ruby singing upstairs. Maybe some sort of little finch up here, watching and listening. We pass my favorite bakery. We pass Cece's apartment. We walk right past my regular park, the one with the twisty slide and the sprinklers. I guess Ava is going to a different park. I skip to keep up. Here is a delicious looking bakery with a pigeon nearby. Here's her friend Cece out on one of the staircases out front. And here's the normal park with a pigeon outside. Actually, that might be a mourning dove and a robin. Where are they going? You can see Alula kind of tipping her head upside down to keep an eye on what's going on. I follow her all the way to Central Park, where my parents sometimes take us on Sundays when we're all dressed up. Here's Ava and Ruby walking into the big front gates. Looks like a cowbird of some sort kind of up on top of there, and a Peregrine Falcon hanging out, keeping an eye on things. It's a big, open, grassy park. Ava is going to the woods. I've never been that way. We sing made-up songs about joggers and strollers and fancy dogs. So here they are looking around at all of the things going on in the park. Here is one of my favorite bird names, the black-crowned night heron. This is a very cool name for a little heron that likes to hunt near these kind of open kind of pond areas. Here's some people out jogging. There's a big poodle looking at a duck. All sorts of things going on in Central Park. Suddenly, Ava stops. She looks up. She is listening. I quiet down and I listen too. What's wrong, I wonder? I hear a police car, a plane, some barking. Up here it says, bee, buzz, buzz, buzz. What is Ava listening to? See a plane in the background, see a couple of cedar waxwings up here in the corner. What could she be listening to? I tug on Ava's sleeve, but she's not paying attention. She holds her binoculars up to her eyes. She is frozen like a statue. And then she smiles a huge smile. You can see a tiny little bird up here on the tree, and down below you can see Ruby and Ava watching through her binoculars. What is this bird that she's looking at? I guess everything's okay, so I start singing again. Ruby, Ava sighs, you scared him away. Who did I scare away? I ask. Ava flops down on a bench. I sit too. It's a bird I've only seen back home in Costa Rica, she says. He's just stopping through on his way north because this is the best patch of wood for miles around. He's quite a singer, just like you. You can see Ava looking maybe a little exasperated with maybe a young birder. But here they are talking about these new birds, and up here it looks like we have some sort of, maybe an oriole with its kind of beautiful kind of like stick nest that they make. It looks like a big net that hangs down. Oops. So you can see them talking about this bird that Ruby just accidentally scared off. If you stay quiet, we might be able to find him again. He's a golden-winged warbler. I nod. I don't say a word, or sing any word either. It sounds like something from a fairy tale. You can see her imagining what this golden-winged warbler might look like. Beautiful gold wings. We move carefully. We're serious. We pay attention. We watch for tiny movements in the leaves. We try and try. No luck today, says Ava, but now you know what to do. So here they are getting ready to maybe go on a different birding trip some other time. In the background we've got Alula is just doing some preening and now has a fluffy down feather stuck in her beak. She's trying to get up with her talon. There we go. Still got a little bit stuck in there. I think she might have just eaten it instead, which is fine. She will cast that feather up with her pellets from the rest of the food she's getting later today. I sing myself to sleep as usual. You can see Ruby's beautiful dreams of colorful, flashy birds. I love this. Almost looks like chalk drawings. These beautiful tropical birds that Ruby is dreaming about all night with that golden-winged warbler. On Sunday morning, I beg for a walk to Central Park. Malik's not interested, but it's family time, so he has to come anyway. We pass through the bodega, we pass the theater, I sing my song, my family listens along. So here is our family walking through town to get over to Central Park. Here's a little starling, really common in cities, especially New York City, heading down to Central Park. Ruby, of course, singing the whole way. At the park, I lead them straight to the woods. I'm silent. I'm serious. I'm paying attention. I hear a rustle in the leaves. Shh, I say. Just like Ava, I'm frozen like a statue. Here's Ava heading into the woods, going on a quest. Here she is with her family, teaching them how to look and listen for this bird. Being very quiet. Do you think that she's gonna find? Here we are. A tiny bird pops out of the leaves. It looks one way, then the other, then right at me. I can't help it. I get that huge smile just like Ava's. Look, I yell. Ah, yes, says Grandma. I saw a warbler, I sing as he flies away. So here we see that little golden-winged warbler up in the tree. Ruby is showing her grandma. And there he is flying away. Find a new tree to hang out in. Maybe one that's a little bit quieter if Ruby is singing her song. Go explore, look for some other good insects to eat somewhere else in Central Park. Oh, and here we have our last page. There's no text on this one, but you can see Ruby, Ava, and Ruby's mom and grandma reading a book, The Golden-Winged Warbler, with a little range map on it to show kind of where that bird is moving around, learning a little bit about some of the birds passing through New York City. Here is a page. I'll read this one, but I'll hold the book down here while I do see a good look at Alula. So this is about this story. As a brand new bird watcher, Ruby is lucky to live near Central Park, one of the best places in the world to enjoy birds. You can find more than 280 kinds of birds there if you know where to look and how to listen. It's mind-boggling to think that so many bird species live right in the center of New York City, one of the busiest cities in the world. Some birds, like robins and starlings and crows, stick around all year. Others, like the warblers, use the park mostly as a stopover in spring to rest and eat before they continue their migration north to nest and raise their own family. Warblers are a group of small songbirds famous for their high-pitched warbling. Ava has a feeling that Ruby will love getting to know a bird that likes to sing as much as she does. When Ava hears the bee buzz buzz song of a male golden-winged warbler in Central Park's North Woods, it reminds her of the comforting forest sounds back home in Costa Rica, where this bird spends the winter. She grew up calling warblers reinitas, or little queens, and gets a burst of joy every time she finds one. She also knows that these warblers are becoming rarer and rarer in the wild, so she is grateful to see that this one has safely made its journey from Central America. This one also says you can learn more at allaboutbirds.org, or, especially if you're in the area or are ever going to visit, centralparknyc.org. Also has some great information about the birds you can find in that beautiful kind of urban birding spot. Here's some more information. I might read a couple of these ones over here, but I will definitely read these about birds at home and finding birds in your city. So about birds at home. Ruby's pet Alex is a sulfur-crested cockatoo, an intelligent, social, and long-lived species native to Australia. In Ruby's house, Alex is part of the family and gets to spend lots of time out of his cage. As pets, cockatoos can learn all sorts of words, like the greeting, "What's going on?" that Ruby's grandma from Barbados taught Alex. Because cockatoos become very attached to people who care for them and can live as long as humans, having one as a pet is a big responsibility. Luckily, sulfur-crested cockatoos are not endangered, but sadly, other parrot species are becoming rare in the wild because so many people want them as pets. Before getting a pet bird, make sure it comes from a licensed captive breeder. And it also says here, finding birds in your city. You can find lots of birds in your city if you know where to look and listen, and there are many common city birds hiding in the pages of this book. Ruby hasn't noticed them yet, but you will once you look closely. The birds you'll find are all favorites of the Celebrate Urban Birds Project, a citizen science project hosted by the Cornell Lab of Ornithology. Celebrate Urban Birds connects people to birds and the natural world through neighborhood activities and the arts. You can celebrate birds near you by finding your species at your local park, playground, or near your favorite sidewalk tree. Be sure to share your discoveries with us by following the easy instruction on the project's websites. And that is, and I'll show this here, celebrateurbanbirds.org. Some really great information, and you can also help scientists kind of figure out where these birds are living. I'll read a couple of these, maybe not every single one, but the brown-headed cowbird. Here is the brown-headed cowbird. It's kind of a small, I don't know if this is showing up very well on the screen, but it has kind of a brownish, kind of bronzy looking head, and then a glossy, kind of dark black shiny body. And it says, find cowbirds at your local park, perched up high or in a flock on the ground, pecking the grass for seeds and insects. We have lots of these living here on the St. Paul campus of the U of M. I see them all the time. Here's a couple others. The American crow. You can find crows pretty much anywhere. That's because they'll eat pretty much anything. Just look up and listen for their caw, caw calls. The Peregrine Falcon, because of course we need to read about the raptor here. The Peregrine Falcon, it says, scan the rooftops and other high perches for these birds of prey. They watch from above and dive down to snatch smaller birds in mid-air. Getting some good preening in here. I'll point out the cedar waxwing. Go to the park when berries are ripe. The waxwings love them. They move in groups, so when you found one, you'll probably find more. I always feel really lucky when I find cedar waxwings because you kind of have to catch them right when you find a tree or a bush that has a lot of fruit on it. So it always feels very lucky when I see one. But here are the rest of the birds. And you won't read every single one of these out loud, but it's got a lot of different urban birds. I wanted to read this book with a red-tailed hawk, since they're also a bird that a lot of us can see in the cities. I know I see them pretty much every day when I'm driving to and from the Raptor Center up on the highways. They're usually, you'll see them, especially near kind of intersections, or hanging out on top of those light poles or electrical poles. I'll oftentimes see them standing up there, looking down at the ground, looking for small mice and rats, or maybe even snakes and lizards while it's warmer outside. So you can always keep an eye out for our local red-tailed hawks. I know I see a couple of them too living in our local neighborhood parks as well. We've got a lot of red-tailed hawks. We have Cooper's hawks, barred owls, lots of different, broad-winged hawks and red-shouldered hawks. I think all of those birds are nesting. I know they're in my neighborhood, so hopefully they're in your neighborhood too, in a lot of our city parks. Especially here in Minnesota, we have a lot of lakes and ponds in our parks, so we have a lot of great places for raptors to live. And if you're living somewhere else, further afield in North America and other parts of the country, you might have some different birds that are often found near you. I know when I've gone down to places like Florida, they have a lot more red-shouldered hawks and Cooper's hawks living around. So you can find out where other birds might live near you, or what other species. Here are a few tips, our last kind of page here. Ruby's tips for taking a nature walk. Number 1. Get your family excited to go outside for a nature walk any way you know how. Chances are they'll be happy to hear that you want some fresh air and family time. If they say, but there's not much to look at around here, remind them that there are animals and plants everywhere, and you don't have to travel outside of your city or town to go on a nature walk. If they say, but we don't have time today, ask them when they will have time and put it on the calendar. I know that always helps me. Putting stuff on a calendar makes it easier to make time for going outside and visiting parks and places like that. Number 2, on your walk, find a place to rest, then stay still and listen for a few minutes. Challenge everyone to count how many different sounds you hear, including birds, dogs, cars, and even airplanes, all of it. Number 3, or you can try a rainbow walk. That's where you look for things in nature that match the colors you can see in a rainbow. So you can go, okay, everyone look for something red. And then you can go, everyone look for something purple. Or maybe everyone look for something blue. So that's a great way to find some really fun activities and find some new things you maybe haven't noticed before. Number 4, take pictures and make recordings of what you see and hear as you go. That way, you can look things up later. You can even make sketches of what you see. Remember, don't let your adults get discouraged if they don't know what kinds of plants, insects, mushrooms, or birds you see and hear. Offer a hug and remind them that it's all about having fun and noticing new things. I mean, this just looks like so much fun, right? Running around outside, looking for birds, looking at all these new plants and animals. I just think that this book is absolutely delightful. So this is Ruby's Birds. That is by Mya Thompson and illustrated by Claudia Dávila. So that one is one of my favorite ones that I think I found recently. So otherwise, this has been Alula, the red-tailed hawk. I was gonna quick scroll through and see if there were any questions or anything that I missed, but I think we saw everything. All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for joining us for Reading with Raptors this week. Next week, I know for sure will be one of our kind of pre-recorded videos, either somebody reading or possibly another episode of Drawing with Raptors. We will find out. So we will see you all next week for more Reading with Raptors. In the meantime, check out our Facebook page here on Facebook. You can also find us on Instagram at The Raptor Center. And of course on our website, theraptorcenter.org, where you can find out more information about the online and in-person programs that we are doing, which is especially exciting. Like I was saying at the start of this video, we are now open for tours of our facility here on site, where you can actually see where birds like Alula and our other birds are actually living and spending their time, and seeing a lot of birds up close, seeing lots of really great natural behaviors like we've been seeing from Alula here. So check that out right now. Our tours, you have to pre-register, and they're kind of limited to number of people as we get all of the birds and people and everything else all used to everything that's going on, and seeing lots more people again after over a year off of seeing larger groups of people. They've been away from people. It takes a little while to get used to everything again. So we'll keep you posted on all of that, but for now you can check out the latest updates at theraptorcenter.org. Thank you all so much for joining us and your support, as always, especially over the last year and a half or so. And we will see you all next week for more Reading with Raptors. Have a great day, everybody.